Hello and welcome to Biking Icons with me, Ricky Smart, and hopefully some friends along the way. Now, I'm absolutely mad about anything with two wheels and an engine, and that's what this show is about, celebrating fantastic bikes, whether it's showing you how you can get a bike that's been unloved in the garage and bringing it back to its best, or how to get hold of an absolute icon as cheap as you can, and hopefully you'll enjoy the ride along the way. Now, there's a bit of a twist with this program. Certain bikes, when they're finished, if you've fallen in love with it and think you'd want to own it, you can. At the end of the program, as soon as it finishes, they will become live on an internet auction site, hopefully with you having the chance to ride away on an Icon and enjoy it in the future. Now, this bike here is the first bike I ever restored. It's got a lot of history as it used to be my dad's, but it's also got a lot of history with the bike I've chosen to do, because if I can only do this program once, I'm going to make sure I do it properly with a very, very good bike. This bike is Yamaha's unsung hero. It's an FZ750, and the Icon I've chosen shares a lot of DNA with this bike. This is the first Yamaha to have 5 valves per cylinder head. It's the first Yamaha to have a Delta box frame. It's the first Yamaha to be called a Genesis, and it's the first Yamaha that moves the carbs from the side of the engine to the top. The airbox is at the front of the tank, and the tank is at the bottom and slightly underneath the seat. Very, very advanced stuff in the day, and it is the blueprint for most bikes even today. So the absolute bike nuts along you have already figured out what Icon it is. But just for you, there's a bit of suspense till I go to the next scene and you find out what it is. Hope you enjoy it. Let's go find us an Icon. Of course, there could only be one biking icon to do first, and that is the original Yamaha R1. It was made between 1998 and 1999, and when it arrived, it was like it was from another planet. It just blew the competition out of the water. Yes, the Honda Fireblade was the first bike to go for low weight over raw power, but the Yamaha R1 was the first bike to combine low weight and big power. No one saw this thing coming. It was exceptional. It had 150 horsepower, which is probably about 130, 125 by the time it gets to the rear wheel, which is still impressive. And it weighed 177 kilos. That's nearly 3 stone less than the Yamaha Thunder Ace, which it replaced. I mean, how you can get rid of 3 stone from a chassis and an engine is beyond me, but they managed it and the results were superb. It was also very cleverly packaged. The R1 did its own trick for the first time on a motorbike. Rather than having the gearbox bolted to the back of the engine, it was piggybacked higher up, and that meant there was a lot more room for the swing arm underneath. So Yamaha made the longest production swing arm, but they also managed to make the wheelbase shorter, and that did 2 things. The shorter wheelbase made it more nimble, but the longer swing arm made it more stable under speed. And did it need it? Because this bike was bonkers. Riders were used to heavy bikes with not too much power. They just open the throttle and have a giggle. On this bike, you open the throttle and it came up like that. It was a wheelie machine. When you talk to people who were around when this bike was launched, they say that on a bike night, if one wasn't flipped or in a hedge at the end, it was a miracle. They were absolutely bonkers and the tyres just weren't good enough. I mean, it's amazing there's some out there still to buy, but there is, because being Japanese and a Yamaha, they made a lot of them, which is fantastic news for us. It means there's plenty out there to still enjoy. I've set myself quite a big challenge here of trying to buy one and do what I want to do with it to make it its best for £3,000. I mean, trying to find one for £3,000 is a challenge, but they are out there. I mean, just looking online now for them, I'd usually use my phone and sit down with a cup of tea, but the phone's filming muggins here, so I've got to use the laptop for this. If you want the original 1998 R1, unless you're a collector, they are tucked up in bed and they are commanding big money. The white and red one is the one everybody wants at the moment, and they are over £8,000 for a good example. So realistically, I think I'm going to have to buy a 1999 bike. There is no difference, just paint differences. The blue R1 is slightly different with the decals, and the red and white one was replaced with a red, black and white paint scheme. To me, that's my favourite colour, but it's the least popular. But we're all different with our own opinions. But yeah, that's the one I like the look of. I'm just going to try and buy the best one I can, but with my budget, I do have to be realistic. I mean, I want to try and find one as close to £2,000 as possible. So I've got more money to make it as good as it can be. And that's what this program's about. It's about buying an iconic bike as cheap as possible and trying to make it look like the £8,000 bikes, but on a budget in your own garage at home, because it can be done. And that's what hopefully you'll enjoy watching me do. I mean, I'll stick to my budget, but looking online now, I think I've bitten off more than I can chew. I mean, this could take me a while. I just hope I don't have to change the icon and go for a different bike, so wish me luck. As you can see, I'm sat in front of an original Yamaha R1. Now, I'd actually given up looking. I thought I'd bitten off more than I can chew with my budget would allow, but had one last check on the Facebook pages and this came up less than an hour from my house. Now, I feel quite bad because I've actually agreed to go 2.5 hours away to Birmingham to look at a different Viking Icon. I started filming a new program because I just didn't think I'd find an R1, but I'm sat in front of it. It's cold, it's getting dark, it's wet, but I don't care because I'm sat in front of this thing. Now, this is a 1999 R1. Some 24,000 miles, still got 6 months MOT left on it, and it's priced at £2,000. I can't believe it really. I mean, yes, it's got aftermarket fairing panels and things that aren't standard on it, but you're not going to for this sort of money. It's what you can turn it into that matters. So I've spoken to the owner. He's a lovely old boy. He's told me everything about the bike. He's had it 2 years, just getting a bit too much for him. But as you can see, I'm in my levers, which means it's test ride time. And I just can't wait to get out there on this thing. I've always wanted to ride one of these and see what it's about, and I can't believe I'm going to. So let's hope we can get some good footage before it gets dark. Okay, here we go. First ride on the R1. Let's see if she starts. Lovely, fuel lights just come on. Typical seller. Right. Wait for this car to go and let's see what she's all about. Sounds lovely on tick over already. Yeah, very nice. Okay, let's go. So it's getting dark. Hopefully we can see what this bike's about. I mean, already I can see it's lovely off the throttle. It's got a quick action throttle, but on an old bike like this it's not too drastic like it would be a brand new Superbike. Just give it a little bit of a weave. It's not very nice weather, it's damp and I'm on sports tyres, but I can already feel it's nice and light on its wheels, which is nice. Let's try a clutchless upshift. Yeah, that's smooth. Typical Yamaha box. Nice and slick and positive. I like a Yamaha gearbox. Clutch feels nice. I mean, it's got aftermarket rear sets on and they're quite high. You must have been short in the leg. It feels like my knees are next to my ears, but I'll just have to deal with that for now. Oh gosh, the front brakes are terrible. Oh, let's try that again. Front brakes. Oh, they're like an on and off switch. Nothing and then a big bite. Oh, yeah, that's not nice. Not in this weather either. Right, let's go this way. See if we're safe. Yep. Right, let's listen to the engine, shall we? Yeah, it sounds lovely. It's ever so smooth, silky. Yeah, I like it. The owner was very honest with me. He's told me what he's done to the bike and what he's changed. He says he's changed the front calipers for newer R1 calipers, and the fact that they're like an on or off switch makes you think maybe they just need bleeding a bit better, that maybe he's not quite got all the air out of the system, because that isn't very confident inspiring, especially in this weather. But apart from that, so far it feels great. I mean, hopefully you can hear me in the helmet. I've had to do quite a lot of faffery with the GoPro to get this to work. I've never done this before, so I might just be talking to my helmet, but I don't care because I'm riding in a Mark 1 R1 and it feels fantastic. I can't believe this will be £2,000. Just because it hasn't got the original bodywork on, I don't know why people shy away from it. I mean, there's a lot of extras on this as well. I mean, the plan is to go back to standard. Already my mind's just thinking about what to do with it, how I can maximise making it its best. I mean, the plan is just pull out from this junction, listen to the engine again. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, the plan already is, I can see stuff that I can take off and replace with standard and just chuck all the extras on the internet auction sites and get my money back. I've already decided I'm taking this bike home. It's fantastic. I can't believe how well it fuels. I thought £2,000, there might be an iffy clutch issue or might not be fueling quite right with the carbs. Fair play to the owner, he's got it set up bang on. I mean, apart from the brakes, which yes, we do need to sort for a Superbike. Do need that to work on a Superbike, to be fair, but yeah, everything apart from that feels lovely and I've got a big grin on my face. Oh yes, She is fantastic. There we have it. If we can do a deal, we've got our first Viking Icon, and I can't believe it. It will be a Yamaha R1 for £2,000. I'm over the moon. I can't wait to get back to his house and sign the paperwork, because she's coming home. Okay, so as you can see, I did the deal and it's back in the garage where it belongs. So I just thought I'd give a quick rundown of what's on the bike. As soon as the bike's more than a few owners old, it'll have lots of extras put on there, new things to replace it, to make it their own. So if we're going to put this back to standard, which is the plan, I thought we'd just see what's different on the bike. So the first thing you can see, it's got an aftermarket exhaust on it. Now, to be fair, this is quite a nice one. It's a Delkovich. It's not far from the original in looks, just a bit shorter. But the first thing owners do is they get rid of the standard exhaust. It saves weight, adds power, and it makes the bike sound nice. So that's probably the only thing I'm not going to bother changing. I mean, a standard exhaust second-hand for one of these is £250 plus. For something that's going to live in someone's garage, I don't see the point. While we're at this for the bike, we've got a tail tidy. Every single sports bike I've owned has had a tail tidy. It's the first thing you do, get rid of the big, chunky plastic under tray. But with the original R1, everybody wants that standard tray. They're a bit expensive. People on the forums are asking for £200 plus for those. But if you just talk to Yamaha, they will get you a brand new genuine one for £116. That'll probably be the biggest thing I buy for this bike. But if that's what people want, then I'm willing to spend it on that part. We've also got some adjustable rear sets. These are just cheap Chinese ones for track days or just to add a bit of bling to your bike. The owner did give me the original ones in a box, so these will be coming off, going on the internet auction sites, and the original footrest going on. But while we're in this area, now this is trick, we've got a brace swing arm here. So it's not only just been braced, it's also been lengthened in this section here to allow for even more stability under speed. Now this is a Harris swing arm. Harris are famous for their frames, their swing arms, and this will be going straight to my racing buddy, see if they want it, and if not, this will end up on the auction sites. It's a very nice bit of kit this, but I can get a standard swing arm for £50, so I'll take it out, swap it over, and hopefully make a nice profit on that. We've also got aftermarket fairings. As you can see, it's not the standard colours. It's got a single seat unit that'll go back to be able to have a passenger. Now the fairings, I'm not sure what to do here. I'm sure you would have seen online there's the Chinese copies which are £400 delivered and they just bolt straight on a Sunday afternoon. They're painted, they're stickered, they're lacquered. It'll make the bike worth less, but for £400 and an evening's work, I'm quite tempted just to go down that route to show you they're not that bad. The other part of me is, can I find some cheap fairings, sand them, get them sprayed? But how much work do you put into a panel before it's no longer original? So that's my biggest headache so far, is the bodywork, really, what to do with it. We've also got these lovely fake carbon lever guards here on both sides. They'll be coming straight off. We've got the stubby levers. I'm not a fan of these regardless, but these aren't the posh ASV ones. These are just Chinese copies, but that'll be 40-50 quid online, and I'll replace them with the standard levers. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but we've also got an Olin steering damper. I mean, when this bike first came out and it was leery and the tyres weren't good enough for the bike, you'd get big tank slappers on the handlebars, and this would calm it down. Now for me, now tyres are good, this bike's aging nicely and it's a nice bike to ride. I don't think it needs this. I like the rawness of the bike. I like bikes to be how they were made. And this again will be a nice few £100 on the internet, which just makes it even sweeter. What else have we got on the bike? It's got some blingy caps here on the brake reservoir and the oil cap. They'll go. I'm not a fan of that. And yet the other thing as well, while I remember, is we've got gold spot calipers on the bike. Now, if you remember from the test ride, the brakes weren't very good. And I think the owners replaced them thinking they'll be better because they're newer. We've probably not bled them properly. We'll soon find out. But I thought, while I'm at it, I can sell those for the same price I can buy the blue ones. So I'll put the original blue ones back on, get rid of the gold ones, and hopefully that's the plans for this bike. See how it goes, and hopefully you enjoy it. So yeah, next stage is taking it to bits and swapping things over.